right, welcome in, everybody. Obviously, starting off a little bit of a light cloud today. But we are here, in fact, I'm speaking about, we are here to celebrate the life of, the career of Brad Guzan. Nobody died. No, nobody died. Yeah, give a big shout out to the big hard wall. How many applause from the audience? So no, if you have found yourself in here and you're not an Atlanta United fan, you're like, what did I just walk into? We're the Scarves and Spikes podcast and website. We cover Atlanta United, Major League Soccer, the World Cup coming up this year. Yes. And next year. Nah, this year. You can find us on the socials and all that good stuff. But we've been doing these outros now. This is the end of our second year. And big shout out to the Nets on Full Bar for allowing us to do these, allowing us to have Atlanta United fans, soccer fans from all over the world, literally, come here and hang out with us and stream these shows live to the rest of our audience.
It's been a fun year. It's a tough year for Atlanta United, but it's been a fun year.
It's a fun year for us. I'm
Nothing much for Atlanta United on the field, but we definitely appreciate you being here. Thanks for joining us. For those of you watching on the stream, thank you for joining us. We do have some audio issues. We're going to try to get through that here as the day goes on. I think we have some lights that's on that shouldn't be on. So that goes the rest of the day. So it's that is a final match. U.S. Atlanta United match with a football player after this match against DC United being up to fourth. Atlanta United. Nothing is clear for me if they'll have a Livingston finish for DC United, some news or God if they're a Livingston finish. But outside that, this is the day for Brad Guzan. It's a celebrate different lifespan. In and out. There you go. My audio playing in it. I will check it out. But nobody comes up to me. Something or running up to Atlanta United. I'm told Tyler the Riff is continuing today. Hopefully the name here stuff. I think we will. But more than anything, this is a celebration of the career effective. And hopefully we can now get to win.
Yeah, that's the thing. I look at this game, it's been a tough year. This team has 5 wins in Major League Soccer. You can literally count on one hand how many wins this team has. And it's not the season anybody wanted. You know this. We're not giving you any new news here. This is literally being a diverse, preaching to the choir, as it were. But it's one of those situations where Brad was I think expected maybe to be on his way out, not just because of his age, but because of the weird contract situation. The contract was going to end anyway, and it's always harder to say, all right, let's redo a contract and continuing on. But I think to me, this entire day, all this is about is Brad Guzan. I mean, obviously, you don't want to end up with a spoon. Nobody wants to end up with that is a real distinct possibility. But what are the celebrations that they have in store for Brad Guzan? I hope that it blows the roof off of this place.
I know it's the most work for you. Yeah. They are absolutely supposed to be at their seat, like fighting for the Prematch celebrations of Brad Guzan. He will start as one guy said, doesn't quite to start. Expect that he will come out maybe 85th minute, maybe stoppage time for getting to the group. So he's going to run fast to get from the crowd. It's something like that. But they're ending with the situation of them. Of course, like you said, Tyler, Atlanta looking to avoid that Livingston for the first time in club history. But that seems like anyone thought it would go. Or the season hasn't gone where people thought. And now we are at the end, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's all about. In a weird way, with Brad Guzan and retiring and then kind of moving on to whatever the next chapter is, whether it's broadcasting, some kind of front office role, coaching, I don't know. He can do anything he wants. But ultimately, I think the way that this this season has gone down, it was going to be a tough draw to get anybody in here today.
Yes.
I mean, it was going to be a struggle. And now that Brad has announced his retirement and we are on the cusp of watching his final game, at least fans have something to show up for.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if there'll be a full house or anything like that, and I think we just walked in this fan getting set up. So we'll get his thoughts here in a moment. I think still my mic's getting in and out.
Yeah.
So again, we'll check on that. But well, I was kind of working on that.
Hey, come on in.
Here and grab a mic. I think it's on. I'm gonna switch mics. Yeah, let's just share mics.
Oh no, this one's on. I just had to switch it on. Usually things work a little bit better when you turn them on, right?
I agree. But
What's up, guys?
what's up? Welcome in. What do you think about this with Brad Guzan? If you were to get the bird's eye view of the career of Brad Guzan, what would you say?
I don't know.
I'd say he's almost twice as old as I am.
I'm older than he is by a few months, actually.
I remember watching when I was a kid, like little. So no, I mean, it feels.
You're gonna have to be up on the mic.
Yes.
You have to eat the mic. My bad. We're learning.
Yeah.
But no, if we're talking about Brad, we're talking about a legend of the game. We're talking about, just someone who it seems to have been there forever for me. I mean, maybe my life hasn't been that long, but at least as long as I've been watching soccer, I can remember Brad Guzan being there in some capacity.
Yeah.
Whether it's the national team, whether it's Atlanta United, just a guy with experience and a guy who I think, his kind as someone who, his personality is unmatched.
Yep.
So, if I'm going to give just an overview of it, I would say he's just a legendary player. He is someone that will go down not just in Atlanta United history or MLS history, but U.S. soccer history. And he was inducted into whatever Ring of Honor Atlanta United has at some point. So he has to be one of the first inducted. And I'm just happy that he gets to end his career here with Atlanta. I wish it was under better circumstances.
No, absolutely.
I wish the season was a little bit better.
Absolutely.
But I'm glad he's ending it here with Atlanta.
Kansas 462. Thanks for watching from LA. I know the Galaxy have kind of some of the same boat as Atlanta United has. They are going to win the spoon. Are they going to win the spoon? LA is, but so it's absolutely for them. So commiserations to LA Galaxy on their season as well. But Tyler, kind of scoot in here with Nick, the three of us. Let's sort of answer your question as we kind of look at the men here. What's sort of the by the way, that's on forward. Thanks for hosting us, as Tyler said. Great food. If you ever find yourself up here, definitely stop by. But how would you describe, just in a few words, the career and impact that Brad Guzan has had on Atlanta United?
I'm not going to do it in a few words for sure because it's hard.
Yeah.
We have all written articles in the last couple of days since this announcement about Brad Guzan because he just means that much to the club. I think for me, one of the things that I put up, and if you haven't read it yet, Signia has a great article out. I just put one up today. It was a top 5 Atlanta United Brad Guzan moments article. But one of the things that I put in that article was this man has spent so much time here, and he has been such an integral part of success and keeping the boat afloat even when it feels like it's about to sink. He's been there on and off the pitch for everybody, and it's a little emotional, right? But ultimately, you have to look at Brad Guzan, and I might get a little bit of hate for this. I don't know. We'll see. He goes in the same sentence as Chipper Jones, as Matt Ryan, Dominic Wilkins, A lot of these like legendary Atlanta sports guys, Brad Guzan's in that same conversation.
Individuals here in Atlanta who have really entrenched athletes in Atlanta who have really entrenched themselves in the fabric of their community. So I certainly agree with you. Of course, soccer is sort of on the periphery when you put it up against baseball, football, basketball, for what it's worth. But I can totally agree with you there, just as far as integrating yourself into the fabric of the city, integrating yourself in your team, and just this longevity. This is a guy who has been with Atlanta United since not the very beginning, but almost the beginning, halfway through that 2017 season, signing for Middlesbrough, and the last player for the inaugural season to be on the pitch even today for Atlanta United, playing his last match as a professional soccer player tonight against DC United at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Appearance leader who's just at 41 to continue playing at 41 is wild, you know. But yeah, no, him and how integrated he is with the community. Just did y'all see the video that the socials team was putting out about him, and you know all these community leaders that were kind of coming together to like appreciate him? I thought that was a really nice touch.
I didn't get a chance to watch that, but you know I've just been watching other videos that haven't put out. There guys so many tributes to Brad Guzan over the past few days, not just from leaders in the community, not just from former teammates here at Atlanta, but teammates from over the years and people that he has come into contact with over the years, even David Beckham, and we had a little fun with it because of what happened against Inter Miami last year. But David Beckham, of course, you know, a big part, a big name in the footballing world, and even he offered some thanks and well wishes to Brad Guzan on his retirement. So his impact has been felt. Tyler mentioned the article I wrote. Had a chance to speak to so many people, from former teammates to staff, former club staff, to media members, said the same thing about him. Just his character, his heart, and not only that, his competitive nature, but away from the pitch, just the biggest heart, the biggest, you know, character. That's how you treated people, how you got involved in the community, and you'll be a big part of Atlanta United lore for years to come.
Now, maybe you can explain this, but on the website we have the ability for fans to go on and kind of leave a message for Brad Guzan. On top of that, because obviously this show is live streamed, all of our shows are live streamed, and I know we have some Brad Guzan fans in here. If you want to hop up here for a minute, give us your thoughts, give us your favorite memory, give us some kind of whatever, bad story, good story, whatever about Brad Guzan. And the lives that he's touched are immense. So I'm sure in some way, shape, form, or fashion, everybody in here, even if you're just watching the man on TV and celebrating all of his saves, you have a Brad Guzan story. So if you want to get and just give a quick shout to the man himself, the mic is open the whole time we're up here.
We've already talked about Brad Guzan, of course, and of course there'll be a great tribute at the stadium before the match, and after the match we'll hear from Brad, give her some marks to the crowd where the match is concluded. But kind of taking a wider lens view, guys, we have to talk about, unfortunately, the season that Atlanta United has had. It's been just a tough season on the pitch, Tyler, like you said. Atlanta United has just won 5 matches. Again, as we know, a loss to DC United would guarantee a Williston finish for the first time in club history, and that's not something that you want to have on your roster. It's not something you want to have on your history book, within your history books. So that's sort of the big picture sort of thing that we have to talk about as well. It's not gone the way anyone would have hoped.
Yeah, for sure. And as we pause on that, the first taker has arrived.
Come on in.
Yeah, come on in. Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's your name? Levi, good to meet you. Let's sort of do the memories of Brad Guzan, sort of the player that he was and really the person that he was as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following the team since they started in 2017, and Guzan's just been a staple, you know. And we were actually watching some stuff on him last night as far as his dedication to the community, childhood cancer research, and just being such a great person in the community. First of all, is impressive, but I mean, he's big, he's bald, he's a mother wall, right? And so, but yeah, the two memories that stand out to me are him in the 2018, championship, and then the famous Miami moment. The net gate, Miami moment. Yeah, net gate, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, Guzan. It's just hard for me to imagine this team without Brad Guzan, right? So. That's really all I wanted to say.
Absolutely.
He's such a great staple. Yeah.
Do you have a prediction, score prediction for the match or anything like that? Or?
I mean, we're both at the bottom, man. So, I say Atlanta United 2-1.
Okay. I know. I like it.
And I think you echo what a lot of people feel. Even if it's just the moments like, MLS Cup back then and the save that he made against Bogacy right before the half. Was literally what that game alive, and of course everybody's going to remember that game. Even if you've never seen it in person, at some point you're going to come across like a meme of Brad Guzan trying to work his way out of a back soccer net. Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree with you. It's hard to imagine this club without him.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate you.
Again, Mike's open. Anybody else got Brad Guzan stories? It's all yours. So, going back to what you were saying.
I was just saying, we have to kind of take the bad with the good, if you will. It's been a tough season. It's been a season that nobody would want to repeat if you're Lenny Atlanta fan. Thank you very much. I have my Coke Zero, my customary Coke Zero. I'm going to put that aside for now.
This is the Virgin.
Yeah. Thank you. No, but guys, you gotta have to talk about it. It's either nobody would have hoped. I mean, you saw the signings that they made. Latte Lot, Miggy. You're coming in with Naranchuk as your other DP. You're coming in with so much promise, so much expectations that this team would be a contender for MLS Cup. And rather quickly within the season, it became clear that this team wasn't going to get to that point. And it's unfortunate. At the end of the day, there could be some changes being made, certainly in the technical area. So, we'll be covering that if it does happen. But
it would be shocking if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, you just coached the team to the worst season in club history, and for all the expertise that Ronnie Dyla has had, I feel like there's a sense among the fan base based on not just the season, how it's gone, but just really on the comment that Arthur Blake made in his letter to the fans the other day that this may be the last time we see Ronnie Dyla in the technical area. Whether he comes back, if he does come back, it's going to be on a short leash, but I just don't know at this point if that's going to happen, guys.
I just don't think you can. I don't think, like I said in a little video I did for Patreon, if Arthur Blank is promising championships, if he is saying that this team, like that is the bar, you cannot have the season that you've had here, where you only won 5 games, and then continue with Ronnie Dyla as the manager. That is not going to lead you to championships. You know that this roster, this is an improved roster over last season's roster, which, according to Doug Lagerwey, was good enough to win MLS Cup. I'm not sure I agree with that, but that was the reason that Rob Valentino was let go. One of the reasons.
Got a lot closer.
Exactly. And now a roster that was at least, $40 million additional investment, right? You broke the transfer record for Emmanuel Atala, you got Miggy back, and you're this much worse. I mean, that is unacceptable. And between that, the fact that we never really saw the tactics develop, we never saw a clear identity of what the team wanted to do. The soccer was boring.
It was confusing.
Yeah, exactly. Everything kind of comes together to say, Ronnie Dyla just probably isn't the right guy for this team right now.
Yeah, so let me just kind of add to that. When you look at, let me just say this before I say my next point. Look what Chris Henderson said a few months ago to Doug Robertson. He said, look, we need to see results from this team. We need to see some sort of positivity from this team. And yes, we saw the win against Nashville and sort of just scoring to take the lead over Ole Miss. But we saw that, and that's maybe a little bit of optimism, but That's been very few and far between. You see some results where they sort of unlift teams and they sort of hold on for draws or rescue draws when they shouldn't have, but at the same time the results haven't been there, and that's disappointing to see.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, we go back, I'll take you back to preseason. I went down there, Ronnie Dow was just really getting rolling as a new coach, right? They're on their kind of team outing, get away from Atlanta preseason portion. And, he's like, my biggest thing I want to see is that throughout the preseason and getting into the year, I want to see improvement. If there's something going on that's not working, I want to see changes. I want to see the improvement. That's what we're working on. And I think in the first few preseason matches, and then maybe getting into the first game of the season, you saw a little bit of nuanced improvement, but I don't think it was ever really convincing. You go up against Montreal on opening day, and it wasn't a convincing win. I mean, you won 3-2. Yeah, that's thanks to an Edwin Mosquera banger at the end of the match. And
that should have been the first red flag.
Right, exactly. Really should.
NYCFC, same thing.
But that was big, and that was over a month later before you win again. And that's a miraculous comeback that you cannot rely on to do that. That is like a once every 4 or 5 season kind of match, if we're being honest. And so at no point in the season did you really see any kind of sustained improvement. And in fact, I feel like though you could maybe look at the defense after the summer transfer window and say, all right, it got a little bit better. At no point has it ever felt consistent. At no point has it ever felt convincing. And here we are on decision day, legitimately having a conversation that Atlanta United might walk, not silverware, but woodware. It's wild, man. It's just crazy to think about.
What do you guys think? This, though, considering how much money they paid for Latte Lot, paid for Rumchuk, with that in mind, and with Miggy in there too, with that in mind, how much money they pay for the DPs collectively, is there a world where we see Garth Wagner, Chris Henderson being a little fiscally responsible when it comes to player acquisition? Because this is a club that has shelled out so much money over the years for players who have panned out and haven't panned out. Do we see more of a move toward, hey, let's focus more off of, and we've seen that a little bit with the Prematch players discussion. I've already been on that in the past, but do we see the club move away a little bit more toward big money signings, focus more on, this not smaller signings, but more practical signings that can really help the team? What do you guys think?
I mean, look,
this is like the hardest version of Football Manager. There's so many little variables.
Because did I completely say we're not going to go and splash $20 million on a player anymore? No, I think if this organization has the resources to do that, absolutely, go into a player. Do it on a player that will legitimately up your game by that much, right? If you can get a player, for example, Latte Lat, you got him for $22 million. If you could have gotten a similar player for $15 million or $12 million, a player that could have done more or less the same or maybe a little bit more, I think that's where you have to look at the money, right? Yeah. It's, is this player really right for us? Is this a player that can best elevate our play? Yeah. I think that's the way that you have to look at it. And that's my thing, right? Because there's some talk about, okay, was $22 million an overspend on Latte Lat? It kind of looks like it now. But, how do you balance, is that overspend on the player? Is it that the setup wasn't right? Is it that he wasn't really being played with strengths? I think a lot of that was true for this season. I think Latte Lat wasn't really played to his strengths. What are the strengths? Speed, counterattack, going long. That's not really something that Atlanta United did a lot this season. Atlanta United was able to attack throughout this season. Slow and clumsy in my eye. And I think that creates some difficulties for a player like Latte Lat. But Latte Lat for a lot of the season, and this I criticize this a lot, but they were using him as a lot like a target man, as sometimes, where he kind of stands around the middle and waits for a long ball, almost like a Marcus side, tries to hold people off, and that's not his game, right? His game is more of speed and being released. So that's what I want to see more. Is the organization not just spending the money, but first of all, spending it on the right players and spending it on the players that will best benefit this team and the way that it's set up.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so halftime, timeout, whatever, for a minute. Who likes free alcohol? Yeah, see the hands go up now.
I got you, man.
Question. Oh, you got okay. I had a good one, but go ahead. No, go ahead. No. You so excited
because this is Brad Guzan.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, all right. So in celebration of Brad Guzan, here
let me get the rules real quick. Get out your phone. Google is your friend, and it's going to be one of those like throw a hand up. And if we see you, you get the right answer, we got a shot or a beer or whatever coming your way. So get your phones ready, get them out, get them unlocked.
How wild would it be if there was the same question that you had?
That'd be cool. I doubt it, because mine was like a deep cut.
All right, here's the question, y'all. Against which team did Brad Guzan make his professional debut?
That's a good question.
That was close, actually.
Good question. Well, yeah, it was close. Yeah, it wasn't.
All right. Against which team did Brad Guzan make his professional debut?
Professional, not Atlanta.
Yeah. It was with Chivas.
The
Okay, Chivas is the team that he was with, but against who did he play on his professional debut?
Okay, see another hand in the back. No, see another hand in the back. What you got? Henry's going over. By the way, we should have a camera. By the way. Yeah, we should have a camera.
Aston Villa, no?
No, wait, hang on. I see a gentleman at the bar. Maybe.
It's a gentleman I want to say.
Nope, okay, still on the phone. It's still open. Look at Henry doing his best, like, Van White thing going down through here.
Yeah.
So, are we talking about is MLS debut or professional debut?
Well, it was.
It's the same thing.
Oh.
Because he debuted in MLS back in 2005.
Right.
What did you say?
DC United. That's correct.
Well done, thank you.
I'll come over there and get your order in a second.
Yeah.
On April 1st, 2009.
Now,
April 1st.
Now I'll give you what my question was. There's no. This is just a fun fact, all right?
Yes.
So fast forward now a few years, 12 years. Brad Guzan shows up at Atlanta, right? Alec Hand is one of the first signings in club history and is killing it. On the cusp of earning MLS All-Star status. He had been fired.
Yes.
He gets injured in a game, still plays the full 90, and guess what other stat he snagged while playing that match?
What was it?
He actually assisted on the goal, and then literally the next match, Brad Guzan took over, and the rest is history. Wow. So there's your Atlanta United trivia one day at a bar somewhere in downtown Atlanta. Maybe that question you could ask. Before you take the trade corner,
I want to get your thoughts on the question I asked earlier about the team's recruitment and spending money and all that. Do you see a change in that regard, or what do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think I just kind of get the vibe. Like Garth and Chris both in their past, one coming directly from Seattle, but both having been at Seattle, they get resources that Atlanta has. Arthur Blank, you go look at his letter that he put out. He's committed to doing what he needs to do to have another MLS Cup raised in this building. And so I think in soccer and in professional sports, some signings hit, some signings don't hit, some coaches hit, some coaches don't hit, but also there are really, really big precedents of players that got signed and flopped the first year and then turn around and just absolutely kill it. We're looking at a few this year in MLS. So it's not that, Latte Life is a failure. I mean, it failed this year. All the DBs failed this year, if we're being honest. Everybody failed this year. But that's not to say that next year it's going to be that bad. Now, I think you have to get the coaching situation figured out. If in fact, you're gonna move on from Ronnie Dyla, then you have to do it ASAP. And from there, I think, are they going to go out and sign another $22 million player this year? No, probably not. But I think they're going to be very busy, and I actually think the amount that they do spend, it'll probably add up pretty significantly.
Yeah. I mean, I can see a little bit of both. I feel like as you go get a drink order over there, I feel like you kind of evolve a little bit. I mean, like you said, just because Latte Light had a bad season this year, so Alexi is another story because he's been over a couple of years or a year and a half. Maybe I don't think you're selling him especially the imagination, but
you get a riot if that happens.
No, exactly. But I can see the club, maybe not abandoning it altogether, but just being more careful as far as how they recruit players, how much they pay for players, and again, you have to get the coaching situations figured out if indeed they do change coaches. But I can see that sort of evolving just a little bit.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, what needs to be looked at is, your scouting and your analytics. That recruitment side of things, I think that needs to be evaluated first because you need to know what you're spending the money on. Because you don't know unless, that department is as good as it can be, and, you don't know if that player is really worth that amount of money, if they are going to come into MLS and make that level of an impact. I mean, for example, they're a global like Son. Broke the record after Latte Light, and really with Son around, right? Because it's Son, he's a player that has found success in the Premier League, and just a global star of his own right. Yeah, sorry.
There you go.
But I mean, that's my thing, right? If you were going to go get global stars, it takes a little bit of guesswork out of the thing, right? But this club hasn't been about that. It's been about kind of finding your Joseph Martinez's and your Almiron before they're big. So if you're going to do that, you have to have your talent identification game up to snuff and better than most of the league. And at this point, I think that is what is most important, is get that figured out, figure out how to improve your recruitment strategy. And then from there, we can start looking at, okay, how much is too much? Is 15, 20, 25 million? How much is too much to spend?
Is there a world where they do pursue a global superstar at all? Or I would rather know because they've never really done that, right? So one pitch now, I guess.
I don't see why you don't at least leave that card on the who's going to pop up in this offseason. I don't know, or even in the summer of next year. I don't know. I mean, this particular summer window was kind of wild with Son and Mueller and some of these other folks coming in. But I don't think they can take the card off the table. I also think if you're going to look at things, I do think you kind of have to have that same mindset that you had in some of the earlier years where you did look in, places. I use South America as the example because obviously that was like the hotbed for the longest time. There is so much talent there. Throw a U22 spot at one of those guys. Ask for the money and get your, Ezekiel Barco, your 18, 19-year-old, and bring him in. And do you start him right away? Not necessarily, but you see what you got. And don't sign him on a full-year contract like you did with Edwin Mosquera. These should be trial spots, but trials of guys that you have looked into very heavily and have the potential to be actual game changers.
So maybe one with an option to buy.
I would be totally fine with that.
Sure.
I would be totally fine with that.
Or just don't tie all of your resources to a player that may or may not work. But that also doesn't mean be too scared of the U22 slots to not use them. Because there are so many examples of U22s working out in this league, between David Martinez at LAFC, Dor Turgeman, who just arrived at New England and on his debut, scored and assisted against Atlanta. There's just so many others that to me, it feels kind of silly to not use the U22 initiative in this day and age at the beginning. Atlanta did well getting South American players. So that's the thing. I think they need to go back and reevaluate that strategy a little bit because they shouldn't be scared of young players. And as far as local superstars, I would eliminate that. And in fact, I would argue that Arthur Blank's letter to the supporters that he sent out yesterday, acknowledging that the season was a disappointment, he also had a line there where he said his goal is to bring world-class soccer to Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah, is to go out there and get a player of Son or Mueller's caliber. Yeah. Go and get a player that people know about and will be excited to come to Atlanta to see, to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I mean, this is such a beautiful stadium. It deserves the biggest names, and it deserves the best team, right? So that's the thing. If you are going to say in that letter that you want to bring the world-class soccer to Atlanta, already that's happening with the Club World Cup and the World Cup and all of this, but you want world-class to live here, go get yourself a big name.
So Atlanta United, kind of switching gears, will not be in the playoffs, but guys, there are other matches in the league today with playoff implications. So the Eastern Conference we already know the 9 teams out of the East, who will, of course, Philadelphia with the Shield will be the number 1 seed. They'll face the winner of the 8-9 matchup. They'll face Wednesday's winner of the 8-9 matchup, I should say. And so we have a broken glass there. But wildcard match. Wildcard match is Wednesday, and then Friday is when the round 1 begins. But guys, as we know, all the teams out of the East will be in the playoffs. We are still waiting to see who will make it out of the West. The top 7 seeds, or 7 teams will be in there, but 8 and 9 still open. Dallas 41 points, RSL 40 points, Colorado in 10th place with 40 points. We need the tiebreaker, which is wins, and the San Jose Earthquakes 38 points. So
that's gonna be a fun fight.
I feel like all eyes are gonna be on the Western Conference, right? Because you have 4 teams who, depending on how they do this evening, they could be in the playoffs, they could miss the playoffs. Again, we already know the 8 teams out of the East will be there. We know 7 of the 9 teams will be there out of the West, but still 2 spots to go, 4 teams to fight for them. So that needs to be a fun watch as a neutral, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like this weekend, the West is really the one to watch for excitement. In the East, this game, because admittedly they are actually playing for something. And then beyond that, you have Brad Guzan retiring, and then up in Columbus you have another Atlanta legend. So I think in the East, we're just watching for retirement situations. Thank you. And beyond that, it's just like, hey, the West, let's see who kind of scrapes in on the last day. Like Atlanta did last year. How far we've fallen.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of storylines, right? Because you have Vancouver and Dallas playing. Dallas obviously playing to secure their playoff spot. Vancouver playing to remain first in the West, which gives you, home advantage in the playoffs. Very similar situation with LAFC and Colorado. LAFC is trying to take the second spot in the West, so they can't take first, but second spot, and Colorado is trying to get into the playoffs. So a lot of motivation on both sides of those games, and as y'all said in the East, there's a massive scrap for who gets 4th place. Home advantage there. Charlotte's holding it, but NYCFC and Nashville are very close behind. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff, and the table can move drastically by the time the night is over.
How do you feel about Philadelphia? Let's talk Porter winners have to theoretically just after the playoff, of course. That's just Porter winners really fair as well. As we stand here today, how do you feel about the Philadelphia Union and the prospects of winning MLS Cup?
I'm going to be real with you. I don't think Philadelphia wins MLS Cup. And there's a couple of reasons for it. First of all, there's the Supporter Shield curse, which the winner of the Supporter Shield usually doesn't win MLS Cup. It's a weird phenomenon, but, Inter Miami, when Atlanta won, the Red Bulls won MLS Cup, or not MLS Cup, Supporter Shield in 2018. They couldn't win MLS Cup and actually ended up falling to Atlanta in, I believe it was a conference final. So that was a big thing. Yeah, that's a thing. But also Philadelphia does not have a great track record against teams above the playoff line this season. Right? A lot of their wins came from just beating the teams they were supposed to beat, which seems minor, but it's actually a huge deal. But with Atlanta, we've talked about it a lot, that they seem to be a team that plays either up or down to the level of their opponent. With Philadelphia, it's just we're going out and playing our way and just beating you with hope. Whether you're Inter Miami or Atlanta United, we're going out and beating you as much as we can. And Philadelphia did that, and that's why they end up being the best team this season. So, but I think when you get to the playoffs and we start talking about, okay, it's round one, I think they might win because they'll be probably facing. How funny would it be if they face Columbus? Right. That's your reward for being number one. Yeah. They could play Columbus in the team nickname. Exactly, but you might win round one. But then after that, the opponents get much harder, and you're probably having to face either Inter Miami or Charlotte or FC Cincinnati, and those are teams I don't think that they beat. And they're just better teams out there that I think will get further. And then in the West, if you're going to win on the West Cup, you got to beat a team from the West. Whether it's LAFC or Vancouver or some of those teams, I just think either of those teams are better than Philadelphia is right now. It just impressed me a little bit more than Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't think Philly. I'm taking away my bias. I don't like Philadelphia half for a minute. But I just, to all the reasons and points that you just made, I don't think Philly has it in them to sustain what they're trying to do over the course of the entire playoffs. Now, do I think they make it probably into second or whatever, third, what is that, semifinal, whatever? Maybe, but I'm not going to sit here and say there's no chance that they win because it is Major League Soccer and somebody's going to take a receipt of this video and be like, look at you, idiot. But I don't think Philly wins it. But I will say, for everything that the West has going on for them right now, I think it goes to Cincinnati.
East? MLS Cup East?
No.
Winning MLS Cup.
Winning MLS Cup?
That's not happening.
I disagree 100 down.
That's not happening. I don't think so.
Get out of here.
For the record, I'm not very bullish on Philly, Jim, and Tyler, you just mentioned. But outside of that, outside the first round, which is a rematch series, it's knockout soccer. So, yeah, they should be able to get past wherever the wild card team is. But
Columbus.
after that, right. But, outside of that, you're looking at knockout team soccer or knockout soccer for the rest of the way out. When one loss, one play could mean the end of your season. It's not to understate.
By the way,
That looks amazing.
steak frites.
Really good.
That's my lunch.
But no, it's when you get a knockout soccer, right? One play could literally be the end of your season. And I feel like that's the situation that the Union will be in. And
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. You see, I'll circle it back to Brad Guzan, MLS Cup 2018. It's those little moments that save against a bubble seed that kept the 1-0. Or was it 2-0? No, it was 1-0 at the time. Was it 2-0?
yeah, it's 1-0.
Yeah, because you go into the half of MLS Cup after giving up an equalizer seconds before halftime, that can change the entire game. So it's these little moments, and I just think that's why we say MLS is such a league of parity. Anybody can win it at any given time, but ultimately, I just think some of these teams, they were very much regular season teams, whereas some of these, I feel like San Diego has it in them, LAFC has it in there, LAFC's been there before many times, Cincinnati, Miami, though they have a little bit of a curse they have to break after last year's playoffs. These are teams, though, that have players in them that have been through the grinder, right? They've been through the crap. And when it comes to, win or go home games, they kind of know what they're doing. And so that's why I say I just don't think, like Philly, I don't think they're going to be that one that just takes that extra step.
For me, MLS Cup is going to be LA. That's what I'm.
I can see LAFC getting
it. And LAFC is winning it. And LAFC is winning it.
I don't know about Miami. I just think Miami has too many deficiencies at this point. We of course have the best player in the world, as we all know. But I just feel like when you look at the team as a whole, there's still some deficiencies that they have, especially defensively. Exactly. In goal, that'll be the thing that gets between Miami winning MLS Cup. I really do. Henry, you said LAFC out of the West. It's hard to argue against that. Vancouver, I will say this. Vancouver will have something to say about that because when you look at Vancouver, you look at the team that they have themselves one of the best players in the world, in Thomas Müller, and he's played in a important match his decorated career. So he knows what knockout soccer is all about. He knows the importance of, hey, one play, one moment can change your season, change your could end your season. And he has the experience, he has the knowledge to rally his team and get the most out of his teammates. He holds himself accountable, and that's just who he is as a person, as a leader, more than a talented football player, which he is as well. But when you look at Vancouver, I think that is sort of, I would say the X factor because we all know what he's capable of, but he is going to be a big part, obviously, of what Vancouver does on the pitch, not only from a technical sense, but from a emotional sense as well. San Diego, I don't know about. I just know the experience and the stuff that they have. Like this. There you go. Yeah, there you go. San Diego, I don't know about. LAFC, where you're talking about them. I think, they stand a good chance of making out of this cup.
Yeah.
And then,
who do you think of the Gold Coast, Minnesota?
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't see it with Minnesota.
You know what's crazy about Minnesota? I was thinking about them last night. I was writing this article for Brad. Everything's going to circle back to Brad Guzan today. But I was writing this article to prep it for this morning, and I'm going to the top 5. So if you haven't gone to scarvesandspikes.com, there's our plug.
What a good company.
Yeah, go to the website. All your Atlanta United news is there, all of it, I promise. But anyway, I'm going through some of his big moments. And I go back to the Open Cup in 2019 against Minnesota, fellow 2017 alumni, right? Came here at the same time as Atlanta. And that was their big chance. Right? Like, Atlanta was coming off MLS Cup just months prior, but Minnesota had not had the success that Atlanta did. Came in the league at the same time. And I was sitting here thinking about Minnesota this year, and they started off, and we thought, all right, they're playing pretty solid soccer. But they've still, throughout the season, they've just coasted and played, I would say, above average to good football. And it kind of hit me last night. Like, there was one team, I think, out of all the teams that are going to be in the playoffs, that I think they could sneak in and surprise everybody. Not because I think they have anything in particular that they do extremely well, but because they do everything good enough. They score goals. And I know this is maybe the John Madden RIP way of putting it, like I'm saying something very obvious here, but they just play like fundamental football. Yeah. And it's working for them.
So, just looking at Minnesota, they can finish anywhere as high as second with a win, or they can't finish lower than fourth. We cannot finish lower than fourth because Seattle has a 6-2 point, but they can finish as high as second, and a result or an outright win tonight could be the difference between a 2-7 matchup or a 4-5 matchup.
Well, that's the thing. So if you're Minnesota, who do you want to play?
Exactly.
Exactly. Right now,
awesome.
Yeah.
I think Austin for sure. I think that's the gimme. Or gimme.
If you can get into both somehow, Portland.
Because right now, the playoffs will begin today. They will play Seattle at the 4-5. But again, that 2-7 matchup, right now, Portland is their team in 7th. They cannot finish lower than 7th. Portland, I believe.
Anyone but Seattle.
Yeah. But Portland are locked into 7.
I would want to take on San Diego.
Right. No, exactly.
Oh, yeah. But if you have to play San Diego.
Right.
Yeah. But no, that's just the importance of these matches beyond like the 4 teams in the West who are still fighting for that 8th and 9th spot, right? The teams further up in the table who know, hey, we're going to the postseason, understand. I mean, they're going to say it out loud, but they understand, hey, matchups are everything. If you ask them, they'll say, hey, we don't care. We just want to be out there. We'll just do the best we can. But they actually really do care about what that matchup is. And they're going to be thinking about that as they step on the pitch, these teams that are still looking at seeding in the playoffs.
Right, I mean, because this is not MLS Next Pro. MLS Next Pro, I love it. It's so fascinating to me because you know they implemented this last year. I think it was last year. I mean, the league is only a couple of years old. But, when you make it into the playoffs, the higher seeds get to pick who they want to play. And that opens up the door. We talk about there's some possibilities of shanking, there's some possibilities of frustration because those top seeds, they get to say, all right, you're the one that I want because I think I can beat you. And then if the upset happens,
That's so embarrassing.
it's embarrassing. Yeah, it's so intriguing.
Social media admins will have so much.
Oh yeah, they get their feet on it. And so it's like, okay, I like that. Now here you get to explicitly pick. No, you don't. But it's decision day, and if I'm a coach, if I'm a front office person in Major League Soccer for whatever club, I have to be thinking what is going to be best for my team and give me the best chances to go into the MLS Cup playoffs and actually make it to MLS Cup and win. And that all starts with how you end the regular season. I don't want to go in round 1 up against LAFC. I don't want to go up against San Diego. I don't want to go up against Seattle. But I would take Austin, right? I would take some of these other teams that are kind of out there on the fringes. And they're in a unique position to throw a game. But I'm saying throw a game, you know? Like, do what you got to do. Give yourself the best chance.
But in all seriousness, who is that dark horse?
I'm being serious.
Are you saying Minnesota is a dark horse? Or?
GM Tyler.
That's right.
Street soccer officer. So I guess who is the dark horse? I say Seattle. I mean, Seattle's going to be
hard to call Seattle dark horse.
Exactly.
They're fifth.
Yeah.
I think if you're like below 4th, you're automatically dark territory.
In that regard, yes. But at the same time, though, you know, they've done it before. You know, we talk all about the zombie sounders. They just pop up with 3 or 4 all of a sudden MLS Cup. So I don't think that's out of the possibility. So I feel like they're my dark horse in the Western Conference. And the Eastern Conference easily the Columbus Crew. I mean, looking on see. And Kevin's giving me a look, but yeah, looking on see. If they get out the 8-9. I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the league. I mean, they can still finish. They can still finish in the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. It's so hard to call a team like the Cubs or something.
That's why I was looking at you. I'm like, this is a dark horse.
By your definition,
If you look at Columbus, I mean, they can finish as high as 7.
It's weird they're in 9.
I know. They have to play, we'll figure out who they play at the end of about 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
But I'd say dark horse because, you know, just kind of looking at where they are in the standings. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if Columbus, a team like Columbus makes a deep run, right? Just because of the experience, just because of the management technical area. So, you disagree?
I mean, look, all respect to Wilfred Nancy, is an amazing manager, arguably the best in MLS, but the Eastern Conference has been so stacked this season But even a really good Columbus side against Charlotte's, against Cincinnati's, against a lot of these other teams. So my thing is, right, if they may or may not have to play the play-in game. And then, much like Atlanta, may or may not have to 4 days later play the first of a best of 3 series. Right? I don't get through a team like Philadelphia or Cincinnati, which is the worst of it. Like, those are the 2 teams that they will probably have to play in round 1, assuming they make it. So, I don't know. For me, man, I think the dark horse has to be NYCFC. I just think they put stuff together.
That's a dark horse for sure.
I think they put stuff together. Alonso Martinez is having the season of his life. Nicolas Fernandez Mercado has come in and just added so much creativity and so much to the team that I have to give them credit and think, look, these guys could finish as high as 4th, which would give them an advantage over Charlotte or whoever it is in the next round. But man, I have to think that they could go and against Miami or Philadelphia or Cincinnati.
Literally.
See what I did there?
But we all know how tough it is to win at that stadium, and I think NYC, true to form, 11 wins at home this season, with only a handful of teams in the league, guys, with more than 10 wins at home, and that includes, of course, City Field whenever they have to go over there. But I would say, beware for any team that does have to go in there at Yankee Stadium. They have to deal with those dimensions. I know Etihad Park is opening up in a couple of years for them, but right now Yankee Stadium is home, and it's a tough place to play for a lot of clubs.
And like, once again, bringing it back to Atlanta, Ronnie Dalla, head coach now. Who knows what tomorrow or Monday or whatever brings? We'll see. Especially with the way that this game could go. But like, you got to owe a lot of the success that Ronnie Dalla had at New York City to the fact that they play on a postage. And I'm not we joke around about it, but that is really the best home field advantage in Major League Soccer, because no other team plays on a pitch not only of that size, but of that quality. Like, we're playing right next to the. This is not true soccer, but it works, and as long as it's allowed, which we haven't been that park will open in a couple of years, but like, it's been allowed, and it does provide a distinct advantage for New York City FC. But yeah, I mean, if they do get a home field advantage throughout, then that becomes a problem for any team that has to go deal with them up there.
Absolutely.
So we're coming up on 5 o'clock and lineups. So I will throw this out there one more time for anybody that wants to hop up here for just a few seconds, give their thoughts on Brad Guzan, memories, just whatever about the big ball girl who will play his last professional football match inside the stadium in a little over an hour. This is your opportunity. Well, I think it was Levi hopped up here earlier.
Yeah.
We've all shared, kind of our feelings about it over the past week over on our show, on the website and everything. But ultimately, Atlanta is, I don't want to say losing, because he's not going anywhere.
Right.
But the club on the pitch is losing a legend, a legit legend.
Absolutely.
100%. And again, I'm sure we'll hear from Brad after the match. His remarks to the crowd. Of course, he can ask a few questions in retrospect. But obviously an emotional retirement press conference. I had a chance to go on Thursday to get Matt up here. But it's a very emotional time. Matt, come on in, buddy. What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Yeah, no, I think what I would say about Brad is, there's a lot of guys that come to the team, and I don't want to say it's all about the money, but it is, man. It's a professional contract. He's one of the guys over the years that I feel like he loves the badge. Like the guy plays for the badge, and like I think that's a different level. And I think he's invested in the community. One of the things I love, is watching it. You referenced the video earlier about just people in the community he had impacted, and I just think about the unified team and just seeing his interaction there. It just felt genuine. It always felt genuine. It always felt like he was genuinely invested in them, genuinely loved being a part of that. But yeah, no, I mean, and I think the other thing too that sticks with me is just his energy. And I think that I think back to them when we were, on top of the world, winning the MLS Cup, and then now kind of at the opposite end, at the bottom, he's still back there. He's still back there coaching his team. He's still back there pumping his fists and keeping guys invested and keeping guys energized. And yes, he's a competitor, and I love that. I think that speaks volumes about his character. And so yeah, I mean, like I said, he's gonna be missed. Yeah, but again, I love that he guys invested in Atlanta. He's invested in the city. He's invested in the club. I'm hoping he stays around in some capacity.
I do too. And to your point, he even said, when asked in the press conference, how do you want to be remembered? He said, as a competitor. I mean, you can look at this man in any game, pick one out of the entire time he's been a professional, not just at Atlanta, and you look at him and be like, that guy, he has that spirit. Some guys don't have it and they can still play, but Brad Guzan has that competitive spirit for sure. Even in training.
I think maybe Joseph is the only one I can think of that maybe compared to that level of just investing in the city and passion and badge. But yeah, no, I think again, I think he is invested enough to where he'll stay around some capacity. I hope.
I agree for sure.
Yeah,
it's home for him.
Before you go, I have a question for you. Yes. Where did you get that hat? Oh, that's that. Well, this little guy got on the Scarves and Spikes store. Scarves and Spikes shop. Nice. So I highly encourage you to visit that. Join the Discord. There's a lot of fun in there. Yeah. Definitely. Check it out.
Having you come on every show.
I couldn't have said it any better. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, buddy.
No, definitely agree with Matt there.
As in the future, the Scarves and Spikes Discord, a lot of fun chats. So y'all should definitely join. We'd love to have you.
Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. Any tier, subscription tier will get you access to our Discord. So definitely go there if you're watching online. If you're here in person, definitely go there. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're first time, please like, subscribe. So you can know whenever we go live, whenever we post videos, and then go to the website, scarvesandspikes.com. I feel like it'll be a busy next few days, weeks, months leading up to 2026, so we'll be there to cover it all. So we're on lineups, no lineups yet. But.
I say this in honor of Brad Guzan and the fact that they are about to do something very special for him over there. And we are on the cusp of a wooden spoon. Shall we cut it now and let everybody work their way over? I mean, we have under a half an hour for people to go through whatever might happen.
Yeah, Brad's starting, that's all that matters. So.
Brad's in the starting 11 for sure.
Have the lineups really not dropped yet?
Everything else past that is...
It's not like it's a state secret at this point.
Did you want to...
real quick, I think lineups are about to drop. Lineups are about to drop. Give us 1 second here. So... They're posting that, obviously an hour before kick.
Okay, so lineup on it. Here's what MLS Soccer has as the lineup.
Wait, yeah.
They're talking about me. I don't know what So, Brad Guzan in goal. We knew this.
Yes,
right? A back four of Amador, Mihai, Beto, Hernandez, which you kind of figured because Gregerson's out. midfield of Sejal Zate Moranchuk, and then a forward line of Latila, Miggy, and Brennan. I'm assuming Luke Brennan's playing on the left and Miggy on the right.
Yeah.
That just makes sense.
Maybe Dalla watched some Paraguay in this international break.
Maybe he got more punch. We don't know, but who knows?
Saba available for selection, by the way. Hibbert, of course. Leo Fonso available. Chunky Togashi. Josh Cohen is not playing today. Thierry Sanchez. So that's the bench for Atlanta United. But all that matters, number one in goal is starting this evening, guys, for the very last time.
Really basic stuff, guys, right? We knew Guzan was starting. I'm excited to see, for my part, I'm excited to see a little bit more of that center back pairing between Beto Kyle and Ania Mihai. It was kind of implied that the idea is for them to be the center back pairing going forward for the near future. They're both 26. They are, they could be here for a long period of time. There will be longevity, and that's what they give you. And I think they've been solid for the most part in what they've shown us now. This is the first time, well, not the first time, but this is one of the only times that we have gotten to kind of see that center back pairing in action. There's some been there for most of the time.
100%. I can't believe the season is over. I know. A big shout out, real quick, to the Nest on 4 Bar, the Signia by Hilton Atlanta Hotel, for hosting all of these shows throughout the year. We were here for the Club World Cup. We've been here for a handful of Atlanta United matches. It has been a busy year, and it will be even busier next year with the World Cup coming to our fair city.
Yes.
If you are here in the bar, or if you're listening at home on the live stream, we would appreciate it if you just go to YouTube, follow us. It smooths the work, but it helps us. It really does. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the support. And again, big shout out to the good folks here at the Nest on 4 for hosting us all year long.
Let's go to the stadium.